So to the final, the men's cox pairs. Only 6 boats entered, so this is a straight final. Won a year ago by Australia. And Australia on the far side in lane 1. Brett HAYMAN, the coxswain, this year as he was last. Germany in lane number 2. They finished 6th in the final. Coxswain also the same man. That's Felix ERDMANN. Then Russia, they were 8th a year ago. There were 10 entries in Germany in this particular boat class. Argentina, who finished 5th. This is the same crew as the one that took them into that 5th place a year ago. And then in lane number 5, Italy, who were silver medalists in Germany. And to their left, the bronze medalists from a year ago, the United States. Jim Neal on the right, sitting in front of him, Philip Henry, and the coxswain's Nicholas Anderson. Well, Australia, as I mentioned, they won with Nicholas Green, James Tompkins and Brett HAYMAN a year ago, so some new names on this year's Roll of Honour. I wonder whether the Argentinians could get into the medal fight here. Every possibility, I would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, they're battling hard there. They're rolling about quite a lot. It's a bit frantic, that first takeoff there. But near side here, United States looking pretty strong in that first few strokes of the race.
Yeah, one of Mike Tatey's Princeton crews, the Americans, and they've certainly gone off pretty smartly. Also, Germany in lane number 2, pretty quick off the mark there, and not much between the two, with again in lane number 3 the Russians, not for the first time at this regatta, with a positive start, but can they sustain it?
Indeed. The strokeman here, Phil Henry, was in the American 8 that won the gold medal 2 years ago, and Jim Neal, sitting behind him there, has been on the fringes of the team for the last few years, a spare man.
Yes, both those men, incidentally, just more recently, Dan, were part of the American 8 that took the Pan American title on their way to Eastern Canada, the Pan American Championships over in Winnipeg.
Well, it's pretty tight now here in this very tough event, always dominated for so long by the Italian Abagnale brothers. Shame that we only have 6 entries here for the event. Generally being treated as a training boat for most teams now for these championships, since it fell off the Olympic program.
But it's the Dresden duo of Joerg DIESSNER and Enrico SCHNABEL for Germany, with their coxswain Felix ERDMANN, who've just about got the lead there.
Conditions quite difficult. You can see there's a lot of water flying about there. They're a bit rough, and it's causing a bit of trouble to some of the crews, but not to the German crew, who seem to be moving extremely well together and rowing it very, very smoothly. There's Jim Neal in the forefront of the picture, and Phil Henry just sitting in front of him. Argentina well up in the group there. Not a lot of finish. It's all very powerful on the first part of the catch.
America trying to recapture this title. They won it in 1997 in France, and both of their men, keen financial experts, both work for Bloomberg.
Jim Neal spent quite a bit of time as a male model and did very successfully at it. But he's also been one of the most consistent performers in the American squad during the winter, and they always seemed to just miss out on the boats when it came to the selection period. But here they are, looking pretty strong here, just sitting in second place, but putting a lot of pressure on Germany, who are just edging out ahead.
As you said, Dan, not much between those two. And again, an interesting split here, with America in 6 and Germany in 2. Not easy for either crew to keep an eye on the other. And then Argentina and Australia also in the fight as we come to the half distance there, and the Americans have regained the advantage now from Germany, and also going quite quickly in that second quarter. The Italians 1:39.14, they were the fastest travellers, and in fact moving up into second place, but it looked very, very close between them and the Germans.
Absolutely there, but Argentina is still pretty close in on the pack there, on the leading pack, and it's a very, very good race here. It's definitely a strong-man boat, but the Italians a little bit rough, but working very, very hard in the middle of the stroke as well.
Relatively inexperienced Luigi Palmieri. He's on the right there. He's enjoying his first World Championships, or at least I hope he is. Sitting in front of him, his teammate Marco BIZZOZERO, only his second appearance at the Worlds for Italy.
Yes, I think that a lot of countries, as I say, are using this as a training ground, bringing people on. But I still think that Germany looking really probably the most smooth of the 6 crews there, moving very well indeed.
Argentina rather steadied in the last quarter at the moment, just hovering around the bronze medal position in lane 4, but they've got some work to do to get themselves back into contention. As you can see there, they're behind the Italians as we go back to the Americans. At the moment, looking pretty good to me. Yeah, looking good for the gold medal. They just got that edge on Germany, about half a canvas, but this is a real battle for the gold medal between these two great nations. At the moment, it's America and Germany sitting on top of the medal table and doing very, very well indeed here in this coxed pairs race. Last quarter coming up now. America from on the far side, Germany, and then Italy from Argentina, and then a little bit of open water, the Australians, who are a little disappointing, I have to say, and the Russians, not for the first time. Reasonable start, but now fading away, and they're not in the race. Yeah, I think Russia's going to have to look a little bit to their long-distance training, their aerobic work, because they do seem to be falling off the pace a little bit as they come up towards the second half of the races here. Very interesting now. The Germans are really sticking to their task well, but the Americans have still got the call. But out of your pocket. Now, this is interesting. Here come the Argentinians. This is Damian ORDAS. He's the man in the bow. Sitting in front of him there is Walter BALUNEK, and it's Patrick MOUCHE, the man with the little man with the race plan, sitting in the bow of that boat. And the Argentinians are heading towards the bronze medal. Fantastic comeback there in the third 500 there from Argentina. They really put pressure on Italy and just broke right through. But now the United States really trying to open up a little bit more on Germany. Germany fighting back. It's still only half a canvas, and it's a great battle going on between these two crews. Yes, this is really the men and the men with the race plan for Germany. It's Felix ERDMANN, and closest to you, the coxswain for the United States there, that's Nicholas Anderson. Those two men barking out, urging on, driving their men on, asking for that little bit more, and they really are going for this now. And this is great racing, split the width of the course now. America closest, Germany on the far side. Germany still looking tough, America still with the advantage. The advantage is narrow, but it's just there. Germany flying towards the finish with the Americans. Are they going to get there? They are going to get there. I reckon the Americans have got that deceptive angle, coming in for the bronze medal now, and that's Australia flying towards the finish there with Argentina, and just narrowly Argentina, I reckon. Very close finishes for all 3 medals there. Now, do the Germans think they've got it? I reckon the Americans have got that. Be very interesting to see this. We had 2 great races there for the gold medal and then for the bronze medal. 2 fantastic races being fought out there. Now look at this. Germans on the top of your picture. America, yes. And actually it's pretty decisive at the end, but from the low angle we saw it at, difficult to judge. Now look at this. Australia, who'd been nowhere, on the far side, coming flying home and almost, oof. That is desperately close. But I reckon Argentina. Yeah. And look how much the German and American pairs had opened up on the field. That was a very, very good sprint from them at the end. And indeed it is, but not by much there. Just by 1800ths of a second, Argentina get a very, very good bronze medal. But it's America, in the shape and form of Jim Neal, Philip Henry, and coxswain Nicholas Anderson, who take the gold medals and regain the title that the Americans won a couple of years ago. Nicholas Anderson.
But it was good racing the Germans on the other side, because we were able to do our plan without getting into a real dogfight with them. So it was a good race. That's all I can say.
For you?
Yeah, I'd say we went according to plan. It just got in our position we wanted to be in the last 500, and then it was anybody's race. It just came down to sprint in the last 250.
Nick, you had to wake them up?
A little bit.
had to just tell them where they were at and keep them going. It was a really tight race, but I guess that's how it works sometimes.